Okay, we are live with my pal Preston. Yes, he's still my pal, even though I disagree with him. I've told him that before we went live that I don't like certain things he does, but I also think it's his right. We're going to talk about that. Before we get started, I'm going to tweet out the link so we can get some more eyes on this, because he has a right to speak his mind, give you his point of view, what he's thinking and doing all this stuff, and what happened to him recently. But before that, let me get this link out. Just give me a second. If you want to talk about your comic before we go into it, go right ahead now.
I have 3 days left on White Lily issue 4, regular or virgin cover. That's over at Indiegogo. Indiegogo, those campaigns never get a lot of love. Like Kickstarter does like 10 to 1. Like White Lily 4 on Kickstarter plus backer kit was like $7,000. Right now over on Indiegogo, it's struggling to do like 600, and the Comicsgaters love to point to like, oh, haha, like nobody buys your books. I'm like, plenty of people buy my books. They just don't buy them on Indiegogo. I don't know what it is about those people, but whatever. But there is a campaign on Indiegogo right now for White Lily issue 4.
All right, great. I'm looking into that. Oh, Doug Tenaple's here.
Oh, hello, Doug. Wow, I didn't even know Doug was a fan of yours.
I asked him to come on the show. I think he got. I'm a strange guy myself, so but Doug, I still want to have you on the show, even if we would have Preston back. You together would be great. Sure. What I like to just so Doug knows, and so the audience knows what you do. I don't like surprises from my guests.
Sure.
I think sometimes the comic book cut, I've invited him. He's worried that he's going to get ambushed or internet jumped.
Sure.
If a guest says, I want this or that, I won't let it happen. Or even if you want to do a pre-recorded stream, I can do that in the future in case you guys want to collab and say, we'd like to do this, but we don't want it live, because tensions are heated right now.
Right. Yes. Yes,
so
they are.
You have an open invitation, Doug, and I, for one, I am not against you or Ethan Van Sciver.
All right.
But I knew the name Doug Tenaple long before I knew Ethan Van Sciver, because I'm an Earthworm Jim fan. I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
So congrats. I like to see what you're doing. I'm going to look for your next campaign too. My pal Kevin Street orders a lot of independent comics, and I was really shocked at the quality of the package for Earthworm Jim.
He puts a lot of care into his product. I mean, I feel very simpatico in regards to putting, because I put a lot. I mean, look, if anybody, I know, I just like and I was talking with somebody today on Twitter who was like, saying some more or less kind of what you say. Sometimes you do things I don't like, but at the same time, I still appreciate what it is you do. And, I want to maybe look at White Lily. I'm like, do you know the story? He's like, no, I haven't had a chance to back it. I need money. I'm like, it's not about the money. And I just, send them PDFs. I hand out PDFs all the time because I put so much time and effort into that story that I want people to see it. So.
Yeah. And I think you have a lot of talent. I think you got a lot of interesting things to say, so I think you should be heard. I have my pal here in the back room who I trust, so he helps moderate things. He might have some interesting takes for you because he's not into all this Comicsgate stuff. So.
Okay, fair enough.
But he is an independent creator himself.
Hello.
Hey guys. Hey Preston. I did say in the chat. I don't know if you saw. Yeah. You actually DM'd me. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. It's just been a busy week.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm not, like Max said, I'm not, usually I'm on my computer, but I just jumped on my phone.
Okay.
I like Max said.
I swear we've done a stream before, I think.
No, I don't think we've been on a stream together.
All right, then I guess I've just listened to one of your videos.
Possibly.
Right.
But yeah, like Max said, I'm not, I mean, I'm a person that likes supporting independent creators just because I'm an author, independent author. Sure. And I did a Kickstarter for my book in November. It's releasing in February. So I like supporting people if they're creators, regardless. I don't give a shit what their slant is or what side of the aisle they're on or whatever it is. Yeah. Creators are creators. So I mean, at first when I saw Comicsgate, I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. It's, people creating your own thing.
Exactly.
My only issue with it is just the atmosphere around it's gotten kind of iffy for me. That's all.
Yes, I concur.
Well, do you want to, Preston? Do you want to go into what? So maybe not everyone knows because we have some of your friends here,
Sure.
but people that don't know, explain to what happened to you this week, and also try to explain what their position is, what they feel prompted it, what started it with the Cecil Indiegogo, maybe, and your take on it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's connected or not, but it's around the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's well. I think that came a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. I did Wizard World Portland over the weekend, which I was just a madman in. Whenever I was planning the next year, I signed myself up for one convention every weekend in January. So I started out Wizard World New Orleans, then I did Long Beach Comic Expo, and then I did Albuquerque Comic Con, and then last weekend was Wizard World Portland. And, like, I like doing cons. I like meeting people. I like, selling my product to strangers. And I get to post photos on Twitter. And a lot of people say, like, they really enjoy seeing or are inspired even in seeing, like this guy that they know going out and selling his product to people that don't know me, don't know the book. They're just people at a con. And they like seeing that. And they like seeing happy people with my book. And so that was cool. So I was doing that, but I did have somebody tell me, oh, hey, all right, it's not just somebody, it's Crypto Creates, sent me a message on Twitter and was like, the guy who cyberstalked, there are pending felony charges awaiting trial against a member of War Campaign who goes by the name Pan. All right. I know his real name, and I filed a police report on him after the course of the weekend, but we won't get into that right now. But Crypto said, hey, like this guy lives in Washington, just not too far away from where that con is, and just like a week prior, he had driven a couple of hours out of the way to go to the preferred local comic book store of Crypto and took a picture and posted that on Twitter, like, haha, I picked up Green Lantern at Crypto's locals. He didn't put that part, but there's clearly the implication of, here's the store I went to, which is not going to help his cyber stalking defense any. But Crypto was like, okay, like be a little, just be on the lookout for this guy. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I'm there, and sure enough, this guy comes along, and I guess you'd call it really bad cosplay, but really he was just trying to cover his face. He had like a Captain America hoodie with an Iron Man mask. And, he presents a program to me and asks me to sign it. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, this shirt was a Christmas gift, and I'm really liking it myself. And I'm like, all right, I'm trying to play along. But meanwhile, he takes out his phone and he's videoing. I'm like, okay, so who do you want the autograph to? And he's like, to Ethan. I'm like, oh, okay, well, to Ethan. I already know where this is going. And, he's got the phone, camera on me. So I know he wants to provoke some incident so he can then run and post it all over Twitter and YouTube and have all the Comicsgaters run with it and go, anti-Comicsgate, SJW, meltdown, walls, whatever. So, all right. I'm like, all right, what am I saying to Ethan? And he's like, from Pocket Pussy. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to engage in that. He's like, why not? That's what you are. I'm like, well, I guess it's your right to call me that, but I don't have to play along. So, sorry, I'm not doing that. Then just say from Preston. I'm like, okay. So, bend down to sign. As I bend down to sign, he's like, you got a big bald spot. I got it on camera. I'm like, okay. You got me, sir. I'm aging. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. Whatever. So I signed the thing, and then I hand it to him, and then he's like, the anti-Comicsgaters just love you. You're like the leader or something. I'm like, I know. I kind of am. And then he goes, yeah, they really listen to you. And then he just goes and he just starts, yelling a bunch of obscenities at me. Like, you're just an asshole and a prick and a pocket pussy. And I'm like, okay, leave. And he scurried away. And So, that, and then later, Pan posted a picture from a nearby restaurant, and I verified that. I asked somebody, like, where was this picture taken? They're like, the Yard House. So I went to the Yard House, which is 2 miles away, and I was able to recreate the entire picture that Pan had. And then later on, a different member of War Campaign posts the picture from what I'm saying is Pan's phone, but the perpetrator at the scene, who were like, oh, there's my bald spot. Oh, okay, so clearly this person was in good with War Campaign, and they're on Ethan's behalf. And oh, wow, we do know of a member of War Campaign who happens to live around there, who's currently up on pending. Yeah, it's Pan. So I'm sorry. And, and Pan is tall, and he has a squeaky voice, and this guy was tall and has a squeaky voice. So, and not to mention Pan did post a photo from 2 miles away at the time. So that happened. And I then prompted Ethan Van Sciver to maybe, on Twitter, like, hey, your fan came and did this. What do you got to say about it? And, Ethan then responded by accusing me of being a doxer. Just an empty thing of like, oh, well, I'm sure you already have my docs. Just mail me your autograph stuff yourself. I'm like, okay, so Ethan exercised no restraint over his fans and the crazy antics they were doing. In fact, he then went on the next day to go on to a big live stream with Cecil and John Malin and Kelsey Shannon, and instruct everyone, all the people that were listening in his 132,000 subscriber base, to do, quote unquote, a deep dive to get what information they could so they could sue me to destroy me utterly. So that's
dangerous to me.
Yes.
Especially since it's interacting now at cons, and
yes.
Yeah, this is a bridge too far, and I think he should. I disagree with things you've done, but sure. I think to be safe, Ethan should address his fans. And I saw the video you're talking about, where he's calling people to do a deep dive on you, and they'd sue you.
Yeah.
Even if you think Preston's an a-hole for what he did with the Cecil campaign and like Disney,
sure.
It is a feature on Indiegogo for someone that views the Indiegogo, if they think something's not right, to contact Indiegogo and then research it. Yeah. So there's nothing that's he's doing wrong. He's using the service as it's set up.
Correct. Yes.
And they are allowed on Indiegogo. It's Indiegogo's business.
Yes.
So if they
it's not like you're sending a separate email like outside of it saying, "Hey, I want you to know this." It's part of the platform. I mean, it's
so even if you don't like people doing it, like even on YouTube, when people flag people, they're using the system that's in use, and it's up to the platform to decide if there's any validity or not.
Exactly. And Cecil's. I don't know if you saw the launch campaign for Cecil's book, but Ethan Van Sciver has Cecil on there. And, the whole thing is just screw Doug TeNapel. Doug TeNapel is this parasitic tapeworm, and we're going, and in Ethan's words, we're going to run Cecil's motorized scooter right over Doug's head. And he says, give us your hate buck, give us your spite bucks. Let's really get this thing up. So the whole campaign was launched on the premise of screw Doug, give us money. That was
right. I if I can, because I do have some questions about. Because here's the thing: I tried researching all this when it first started, but their streams are so fucking long that it's just impossible.
I have an answer for that. Last week in Comicsgate, I put it out once a week.
Yeah, I saw it. But I guess I'm trying to get the context here because this does go back to, and it'd be not, I would love to talk to Doug about it too, because it apparently it started with their beef. With Doug and Ethan. I guess if you can briefly maybe, explain for me, and maybe people don't know, like what started that problem between those two at least.
Okay. Now let me preface this by saying, in general, I consider attacking the motivations of someone to be like the weakest form of, it's not even really an argument, and I saw, that's why I invited Red Gaze on, because he put out a video today. Preston Poulter, the face of entitlement. I'm like, okay, so don't respond to anything I say. Just say I'm entitled. And you know what? He's right. I feel entitled to go to a con and not be harassed by a man in a mask with pending cyber stalking charges. I guess I feel entitled to that. But, I don't expect Red Gaze to talk about that. But let's see. Oh, yeah. So But in regards to Ethan, it's going to be kind of hard without speculating as to motive because the actions involved are kind of bizarre. All right. At one point, Ethan was publicly calling for people to come on his stream. And Doug TenNapel is, a creator in good standing with a long legacy and a lot of successful IPs. And so there were some behind the scenes talks about let's get Doug on. And so Doug goes on the stream, and the Earthworm Jim campaign, I believe, and not Bigfoot Bill. I get those two confused sometimes because I like Doug, but I haven't read the stuff and I don't know which campaign it was, but I think it was Earthworm Jim. Gets launched on Indiegogo as part of Comicsgate, and at the time, I wasn't following this closely, but I believe at the time this was considered kind of a feather in the cap of Comicsgate, kind of a nod towards legitimacy of look what we've done. We now have this long-standing creator with a great project, and there it was. So that happened, but then later on, there's basically specifically Doug TenNapel is like, I don't like what's going on with War Campaign. And he's like, I consider this controversial. And so Ethan responds, what could possibly be controversial about, Comicsgate? And then there was the Pride is Ascend tweet put out by, Mark S. Miller, and I think, like Doug TenNapel was part of that or retweeted it or something like that, during Pride Month. And there was a great deal of pearl clutching from War Campaign, like how dare these homophobic people, which included, by the way, doing this mass Twitter campaign which tagged Doug TenNapel's employers in the midst of this homophobia accusation. So the people who want to come talk to me about my deplatforming, I'm like, you got kind of unclean hands there, buddy. But
that's what I was getting at, because I saw, from what I figured, it sounded like that's what they were kind of already doing to him.
Yeah,
and it seems a little hypocritical.
Yeah. So then Doug's leaving, and so Doug is like, I don't want to be involved in Comicsgate anymore. I'm leaving this behind. And then there was a lot of essentially mass refunds or demands to get them. And apparently for the campaign, like it oversold, so some people he had to give a refund to, and some like Sketch Therapy, I believe, was a member of War Campaign. Again, this is just what I've heard, but Sketch Therapy was like, I don't want a refund, I want the book, and like and since then people have been hounding Doug. I'm still waiting for my book, and it's not that they didn't get something of value. They got a refund because the campaign was sold out or whatnot. But ever since then, the Ethan characterization of Doug has been as a tapeworm, and and Ethan has gone on at length and said that Doug didn't know how to launch a crowdfund, and he needed Ethan to show him how, which is silly because Doug has crowdfunded books before this, and Doug's campaign raised more than Ethan's did. Ethan likes to say, well, Cyberfrog made more, but he has to add together all the different Cyberfrog campaigns in order to make that claim. Whereas Doug just made one campaign, no in demand, just one campaign, there it was. And that's better in terms of backer value, right? Because if you got the book and you go to sell it on eBay, you're not competing with all these other campaigns. It's like it's a more rare item, if you will. So, but Ethan went on and basically said, that Doug was just this tapeworm, and that's where the name came from. And it's gone so far that like Ethan has on his chat, there's like one of the little emojis or whatever is the head of Doug TenNapel on a tapeworm, because he was the tapeworm of Comicsgate. He came in and took our money and gave us nothing, and he betrayed us. And you hear them just all the time railing against how terrible Doug TenNapel is because of that.
My take from that is, I do agree with you that Doug was successful on his own,
right?
And I would have, if I had his properties, both Bigfoot Bill and Earthworm Jim, I would run like crazy away from this chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
All this. No, hey, you're in this bubble, you like this kind of humor. Lots of people do not. It's not a few.
Right.
And that's, I mean, lots of people don't want to deal with this crap.
Right.
And I don't think his fans gave Doug the benefit of the doubt with fulfilling his comic that they give a long leash to Ethan.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
And he was way late with his stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. Their view is skewed that thinks that he came, got the money and ran.
Yeah.
I don't see that at all. I could see where anyone that wants to have a career outside of Comicsgate would want to run away from it.
Yes.
And the encouraging of it is getting into a dangerous situation with what happened at the con.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't encourage people that have their line isn't very strong on what they'll do on the internet as it is.
Right.
So who knows what they'll do in reality,
right?
And what's happening in their mind.
Yeah, and when Ethan goes on and talks to, I mean, look, he has 132,000 subscribers. He didn't have that many viewers, but however many viewers he happens to get, they are very fanatical, and who knows which one of them is going to be like, that bastard's out to kill Comicsgate and do something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Mix.
No, go ahead.
That's the issue that I've been kind of seeing is, I mean, I can understand if Doug wanted to leave because it's maybe just not professional enough for him, especially what Word Campaign does. You can't fault the guy for that. It's whatever. He's going to do what he wants to do with his business and his brand.
Right.
I'm noticing that it seems like they try to have this high ground where it's like, oh, it's just jokes. It's just parody. It's just for fun. Right. Your guys are trying to hurt our business. But what they don't understand is that it's jokes and fun when you're doing it with someone you like. Yes. When it's someone you don't like, it's not jokes and fun. It's character assassination.
Yes.
And character assassination is the same thing. If you're taking someone who's an independent creator and you're trying to assassinate their character, you're trying to hurt their reputation and their sales.
Right.
That's the same thing. I saw one clip of video. I think you put it up too, where when he was running Cecil's campaign at the same time, he just kept talking about how we're going to destroy his campaign. We're going to destroy his campaign. Just run out. Isn't that the same thing that they're saying you're technically trying to do? Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, and just because I'm honest, sure, I mean, it's perfectly fine if you use the Indiegogo thing and you reported it. It's there. Right. Me personally, I wouldn't have done that. It's like the same thing on YouTube. I wouldn't report another YouTuber because it's like I'll handle it my own way. Right. I mean, but I'm not going to criticize you for it. That's you chose the path you felt was best for you. So that's fine. But at the same time, it's just like there's a lot of hypocrisy where they do the same thing and then they act like, well, we can't control our fans. But then you're literally telling your fans, do this.
Yes.
I mean, literally, it's not even like...
Or not correcting them after the fact.
Right. Yeah. Not correcting them after the fact. And I'll give you... I mean, mine is a real tiny example because I'm not that big. The other person's not that big. Right. We're small channels. But I have someone, and Max knows what I'm talking about, who, because he's angry because I used some voice clips of him because he was trying to lie about me and assassinate my character, I put some voice clips of what he said at the beginning of my videos.
Right.
And he's trying to mobilize his tiny group of people to, and quote, because I've got the screenshots, destroy his author career.
Right.
And I just combat. It's like, I'm not going to report him. I'm not going to do this. But I'm like, you know what? Let him stew in it, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
But people put themselves on this high ground, and they think it's okay to do this and this and this. But I don't understand how they're not comprehending that. Right. They're not comprehending that they're doing the same thing. Right. That just because you want to split hairs and say, well, we didn't report, that's destroying career. Character assassination and reputation for an artist is the same damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I kind of want to talk about what Comicsgate has become.
Sure.
I don't think it's a consumer movement anymore. Go ahead.
And I would say that they admit that they are very creator focused. And Ethan is in fact, Ethan did this stream which I put on last week at Comicsgate where he was signing books as he was sending them out. and was basically saying that OG Comicsgate was just a bunch of critics. But that, when he came involved, well, now Comicsgate has become basically a circle of anti-social justice creators. And that without them, there really is nothing, because, just a bunch of critics on YouTube or whatnot, who cares? As Ethan put it, once you've decided you're not going to buy Marvel anymore, they don't even need to pay attention to you. But we the creators, provide this alternative. And so Ethan himself has now said that it's not a consumer movement. It is about supporting basically the creators of Ethan and Friends.
Or the chosen ones, the ones he chooses.
Right.
Which again it's his show and it's his platform. He has every right to choose who he supports or doesn't. I get that.
Yes,
I just don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. It's like, why does it have to be a shit show? It's like you can support who you want to support.
Faster money.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm getting at. It's like you can support who you want to support and not support you. I mean, to me, the best way, if you say you don't like this person, is to not give him a platform, not support him.
Right.
That's the easiest way to do it. But again, his supplemental income, and not just supplemental income, but what also draws the people into these campaigns is his viewership and his clicks and the amount of people that come to the videos, because that's his commercials. He doesn't have a multi-billion-dollar media corporation behind him promoting stuff. Right. So that's the way he does it.
I don't see this as a solution to the issues that Comicsgate critics started at the beginning. I see it as a Band-Aid for these creators' career. And I don't see a real big attempt for a solution except constant Indiegogos for the rest of their careers.
Yeah, I mean,
unless they create their own company.
But I don't
understand why they don't.
I don't see a lot of interest in it.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, they have created their own company, but the how they distribute is through IGG, right? They distribute through Indiegogo. They're not, with the exception of Clint Stoker, who recently signed a deal with Alterna, so I've heard. So Clint seems to be the only guy who so far managed to get a distribution deal where he's gonna show up in comic book stores. Cool.
Wouldn't a smart thing to do is try, what happened in the 90s, with Layfield and McFarlane, and just make your own brand.
Right.
I mean, I know it's chancy, but the way print is nowadays, it's a struggling industry. Let's be honest. Sure. That now I think is a good time. I mean, I would think it'd be smarter to, instead of doing these constant campaigns, pull your money together and start a label, and have all your own creators under it. You know what I mean?
That's what Ethan was talking about in the December of 2017 or 18. Yeah, December of 2018. Was that he was going to start his own label, and he was basically going to become a publisher, and that was in part what prompted me to want to talk to him. I'm like, oh, well, I have good books. He was a publisher, let's not. And initially he looked at it and he said, yeah, you have a great book, I'd love to promote it, but then things went south after that.
I think it's lost that. I remember when he was talking about it. Right. I don't think they're interested in that anymore.
No.
I don't think this is helping the comic book shops at all, except for what the down past their sweet is doing.
Yeah.
Because the title of Cecil's book is a meta for what they're doing. It's a cash grab.
It's a cash grab.
Let's make as much money as we can from each individual campaign and just live off of that. Now, again, like me, I know it's different because mine's a novel, not a comic book, but it's still some similarities. I did a Kickstarter and I already had the book written, so mine wasn't one of these funded for me. I don't have to hire artists. I don't have except for cover artists and stuff like that. But I already had it written. I just needed to do the editing and all the other stuff like that. And that was just a kickoff point for me to put it up on Amazon and have it, published as a regular novel on Amazon and sold on Amazon. So the Kickstarter was never meant to be something that I was going to live off of. It was just to springboard it, into Amazon and everything.
Right.
And that's why I just, you would think if they want to be successful in what they're doing, why would you want to go through this grind of these campaigns over and over and over again rather than just making it something legitimate?
I also have a theory of why tensions are so high right now in the success of Comicsgate.
Right.
They are so invested with buying each other's. They're all buying each other's stuff constantly.
Yes.
It's the same group of people. That's why they're getting these big numbers.
Yeah.
And a couple people with big, deep pockets.
Yeah.
And the top creators in Comicsgate are shackled to their audience that does some bad things, and they don't want to call them out on it. Like, I'm sure Ethan does. I think Ethan should say, you know what, this has gone too far. But based on that stream that I saw recently, he's also out of his mind if he thinks this is something that you should sue for.
Yeah.
And go wait. I mean, you don't like what Preston did? It's in the terms of service of the platform. If you don't like the platform, you don't have to use that platform. So I don't.
It's just hype. It's just hype. It's hype. It's just hype.
Yeah, but it's
just to get people worked up.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But it gets people hyped up and, well, oh, look, Caesar, he's fighting for us and this and that. And then when the next campaign they get out, they'll all contribute again. I mean, it's hype. And they got to keep that, because it's just a small pool of people, and they got to keep those people there. They can't choose to lose any of them, even if they're crazy, because if they're spending money, they're spending money. So you got to keep them there. My only problem, and this is what's sad to me about it, is there's a lot of smaller creators, and I've watched your streams, and I watched Red Gazes today that you mentioned too.
Right.
And the one point he has that I agree with is there are a lot of smaller creators that, in their view, Ethan is the only chance they have to get their stuff really promoted up that way.
All right.
So they're kind of like excusing what he does, because it's like, well, I want to make sure my book gets put up there. I want to be friendly with him, because there's like no one else. And that's the sad part to me about it. I think. Yeah,
I can agree with that too. Is that there are, people like Antonio Bryce, right? Like Antonio Bryce. I think there's a reason why Ethan, wrapped his arms around Antonio Bryce. Not to speculate too much about motive, but it's that he was just a guy with a comic book idea, and then Ethan platformed him, and then he made a lot of money. Great, but that's a cool story, and sure there are many more, but I got to say the flip side of that is, if you're going to be a consumer, well, you got to expect some subpar products, because these are by definition amateurs. And there's going to be some lates, and there's going to be some just never got theirs. But
I'd like to talk about the image of EVS to his small followers that he thinks are giving him a platform. What could actually be happening there? He is so reliant on them. They super chat him like crazy. He probably feels obligated, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And then there's not as much concern as if this is going to be a quality product and follow through, except fun. He's there in image on his comics books live. But what does he actually do to say, you know what, if I'm going to have you on my show, you got to make sure you get this done right behind the scenes. I think it's all show and nothing behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. For example, Stealing Solo. That's one of his good friends. Yeah. He should have maybe done a portfolio review of Jeff Hicks before he said, go fund this, go fund this, go fund this. Yeah. He's going to his bank constantly saying, go fund this, without any actual thought on the down the line.
Yeah, but you see the game he does. Just like the story you described with Doug. It's like, I'll support you. If you fail, we'll just say you're a loser, you don't know how to do stuff, goodbye. Right. And discard him. So it doesn't, in his fans' eyes, it doesn't tarnish his image. It wasn't my fault. It was, they just suck.
But also the other thing is, and that scenario you said that Red Gaze brought up is very much the scenario that their fans have bought into, and that's that you could have never done this without Ethan. And that you owe him essentially for the rest of existence, like whatever Ethan does, you got to back him. And
not only that, it's not growing the platform. It's like you're not getting any exposure outside of Comicsgate.
No.
You're in that pool, and that's it.
That's it, yeah. So, there are certainly people who want to be, the next Antonio Bryce, and I know them because they get in my face all the time. And I'm like, I see you. You got your little YouTube channel and your little book project, and you want, you like, oh, if I tell Preston off enough, then just like that creation thing, Ethan will reach down with the finger, and the comics
lift me up.
well, she rained down on me. Like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever.
Wasn't when you wanted to go on a show, you had some ideas too of where to grow in the future? Like, I know you do digital too with your things, and they're kind of. I'm not sure because I didn't follow this part. Did they kind of laugh those ideas off and not? They don't really embrace new ideas. I don't.
It never even got that far. I mean, like I was never on his show. Which again is paradoxical in terms of, well, if I was never on his show, what do I owe him, or what does he owe me? Nothing, right? I mean, like nothing ever happened. Therefore, I should be allowed to say whatever the hell I want, and so should he, and let the matter drop. But they were bringing it up today, you know.
I don't, Phantom. I completely disagree with you. I think it's the same people. All the creators. Putting all their money in,
supporting each other.
Hoping they get their shot on Comics Book Live, and Ethan is shackled to these people.
And Iron Sights 2 was had lost over a third of the backers of Iron Sights 1. If you look at Comic Artist Pro Secrets, that channel is in decline. It's lost.
It's what I call hit the sub wall. Everyone already knows who you are.
Right. And there's a bit of a facade, because if you look at all the campaigns, you add up all the money. Oh, look how much money we raised all together. But it's the same money being recycled. It's the money earned from this campaign, and this campaign used to fund this campaign, to use to fund that campaign. So it's the same money just being recycled over and over again.
With the top guys getting the benefit.
Right.
Everything else is everyone else supporting each other.
Right. But you see what I'm saying? It's not like this outside money. It's not like it's just growth, because they think with every successful campaign we're growing, and you're not. It's the same people, same people spending the money on it. So it's not really growing.
The notion that Comicsgate is growing is demonstrably false. You know, like if you look at the YouTube channels, they're down. If you look at the campaigns, they're down. It's not true. You know. Oh, by the way, Ethan predicted this year there was going to be $10 million in Comicsgate projects. Okay. Well, January's about over, and December's pretty dead. So I better be seeing $1 million a month. Right?
Well, I'll go to Ethan's favorite Star Wars character, Rose Tico, one of her sayings.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to win. Not fighting what we hate, saving what we love.
There you go. Yeah.
Is this helping comics in the long run? No, I don't think so. I think everyone at the start wanted something like that.
Right.
They also blow it out of proportion, demise of DC and Marvel.
Yeah.
Because it benefits them, and they crap on stuff they don't even follow anymore. Print media is going down.
Right.
So there has to be new ideas. But
I want to address something. Someone's, it's a troll. It's the Tyler guy. He's always a troll. He's always around.
Okay. Is he in again?
But he says they attack Edwin for a while, and he doesn't even bring them up. Now, here's the thing. I'm not gonna, especially me personally. I can't attack. He said Edwin, not Ethan. Sorry, never mind. Go back to what you're saying. I misunderstood it as Ethan, but it's Edwin.
Edwin. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Trying to think where I was going.
Sorry, Max.
You were talking about whether it was good for comics, like in the long run.
Oh no. Yeah. I don't see this this Comicsgate now, as it is now, is good for the comics industry, good for comic book stores, or good for the consumer.
Right.
It's good for the Comicsgate creators that are trying to put a Band-Aid onto their careers at the end.
Yes.
People that want to get in new to comics, maybe, but they're also having to get to that point, and maybe this is where you didn't get on. I don't know if they didn't personally like you or whatever, but I don't know how much you funded with super chats, and they felt obligated to have you on. My opinion is that plays into it. Who gets on Comics Book Live?
Maybe.
And also this the gatekeeping argument. I think he is gatekeeping.
Right.
Also, saying Comics Book Live, just starting that to begin with, that make people like, oh, you need to go here.
Sure.
Using that right away.
But as I put in my last week of Comicsgate year in review in 2019, I'm like, if you look at the projects that Ethan turned away, like me, who's now come out with 6 books, and they all look really good, by the way. You know, if you ever
They do look good.
Yeah.
Longer.
Yeah, I'll get that. I saw your books there.
Yeah.
The art's spectacular on it. I do appreciate the artwork.
Thank you. So I'm the writer, but you know, I do my best in terms of having good art. But you know, 6 books, and then you know, Tim Lin, okay, no. Doug TeNapel, no. Long Harbor, no. You know, like all John Delarose, no. Essentially, in terms of these were people that are no longer part of Comicsgate because either Ethan never liked them to begin with or had fallings out with them shortly thereafter. Whereas if you look at the people who stayed, the comics that they're putting out are not as good and often late. You know, like Jeff Hicks. You know, like so many. You know, like the Winger. You know, his superhero book. It's got a decent cover. The interior artwork is okay, but you know, the story's weak.
Doug TeNapel has a question for me and Darth. Question for Mad Max and Darth. How is it you guys largely think for yourself and see through the internet rage? You guys seem normal. And he's saying I look normal. That's
you're normal?
Yeah, you're
okay,
normal.
well,
let's go.
Do you want to go first, Max, or do you want me to go?
I see what's happening. The war campaign. What is this really about? The Edwin Boyette said, "Stop the fudge."
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is just the rights to be an asshole. And if you only exercise that right, that's all you become. Is that for the good of comics? Putting your rights above the fandom, put your rights above comics. If they actually respected these creators, even if you parted ways, you should say, no, leave them alone.
Right.
It's propping up the EVS. War Campaign is an EVS super fan group. Let's be real.
Yes.
They call him Caesar, hail, hail, hail.
Yeah.
And even though he doesn't directly say things,
he does sometimes.
But he does. The last one, he said, "War Campaign, dig up everything you have on him."
Yeah,
he said, especially War Campaign, dig up everything.
This time he did. This time he did. Encouraging this kind of behavior is bad, and he also can't call them out either because that's his bank.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a dangerous scenario.
Yeah.
It's getting out of hand. And even if you don't like what Preston does, he hasn't gone outside the lines of the law or what he's allowed to do on each of these platforms.
Right.
I don't agree with it. Laga doesn't agree with it. We'll still talk to you. We still think you have a right to say what you want. It's your rights. They want to talk about rights. It's your right. And to saying suing is ridiculous. What is all this suing talk?
It's been pretty prevalent lately.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what they disliked about SJWs and DC and Marvel? It's come full circle.
You become what you hate.
Yeah.
And the reason I think Doug is trying to do something for the consumer and people, like if maybe Jeff Hicks should have watched Doug TeNapel's behind the scenes going to the where he's getting the comics printed, showing you. He actually said, "I use this printer. Contact them."
Yeah.
He's showing you what to do.
Yep.
And he's actually trying to push it forward. Now, some of the covers that EVS did were really nice, chromium and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think Doug has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they linked arms and then just said stop to all this BS memeing?
Well, that was the whole plan, right?
Yeah. No respect.
Yeah, and when you're inside when you think about if you're inside a company like DC or Marvel, you think there's not people there that don't like each other? They do, but they work because listen, we need to make money, we need to sell this shit, and they work together, and then they go home and not think about the other person.
Right.
And
whereas
that's how you
on YouTube, there's this, drama feeds views, which feeds money, and so I think people are getting monetarily rewarded for their vices. And
we said it, monetizing hate.
Yeah, and and the thing, I have a degree in chemistry, so I guess I sometimes see things in chemical terms. But if the strength of the bond is not as strong as the strength of the liberated molecules, then that difference is how much energy you get when it burns or when it explodes.
Yep.
And the amount of money you get from the drama, particularly short term, is just way better than the amount of money you're going to get by hanging out and being buds. So, and particularly when Comicsgate became no longer growing, but just a static group. If it's a static group of just money sheep, just this one little group, then of course you want to elbow people out of the way. So,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, Doug, I'll give my little answer now. The reason why I sound like a normal guy is because I am a normal guy. I've only been in this YouTube thing for like 2 months, so it's not like something I've been doing, a long time. I've always wanted to be an author since I was a little kid. I mean, I literally have like this book that I taped together that I wrote when I was like 12. So I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do, and and I like Star Wars, and I came on here. Other than that, I don't. Politics is not something I want to involve in what I like or don't like or arguments. It drives me nuts. I'm centrist for the most part in just about everything. I'm a centrist politically. I'm a pragmatist at heart, more importantly. So it's like, I don't want to get into these where it's like sides. They're not, if you're not with us, you're against us. And they're on the other side of the fence. You can't talk to them. They're on the other side of the fence. They're going to hurt our business. We need to beat them. It's like, dude, especially me being an author, it's like, I want to see everyone succeed. I don't care who you vote for or what you like or whatever the case is. If I don't like the product, I just won't buy it. And that's the end of the day.
Exactly.
And that's how it is for me. And I mean, for example, as another creator, I wish Ethan the best of luck. Sell $10 million, $20 million.
Sure.
Keep doing it because it's good for everybody. Just to my mind, it's like, well, why does there have to be a war? Yes. Why does it have to be this petty war? And again, I'll tell you why, because you're not a company. You have a group of fans on YouTube, and those are the people that buy your books, and you need to keep them with you at all costs. So you mobilize them, you rile them up, and you keep them going because they're your titty milk. They're the teats that you're feeding off of, and you got to keep them there.
And it's dangerous.
And you're not growing it. Yeah.
There's a lot of money invested.
I'm just normal.
With great power comes great responsibility. He once said that he's the next Stan Lee. I don't think he's handling the responsibility or wants to handle the responsibility of him being. He is the leader, basically, because of the fans voted him, or he gets the most traction. He does. I don't think he wants any responsibility or anything to actually move Comicsgate into something that could grow.
Yeah.
Or just do the same thing he's doing. I don't see it going anywhere else. That Sweetcast thing is interesting. I'm glad to hear that someone's actually getting the Alterna Comics. That's great.
Yeah, and integrity, right? Integrity is important too. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like with that guy I was telling you about earlier that was saying he wants to destroy my writing career. I had a couple people that are followers of my show. I mean, I'm not huge. I'm only got like 580 subscribers or something like that. And, there was a couple people in Twitter when I posted what the guy was doing saying something needs to be done about this. And I'm like, no. You do nothing. You do nothing. We're not like them. I don't want anyone going after him. Don't say nothing to him. Leave it alone. I don't want anyone doing anything. I don't care how small it is in my name or in my behalf, because I want to keep that integrity. And if my channel grows, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that's like telling my people, do this and do that, or even if it's just implied, because once you get that power, you have it. And even though they try to say I can't control people, you're an influencer. And once you start saying stuff enough, they start taking it upon themselves to do things. But then you want to say, like the mob bosses that, when they just give a nod for the mob hit, and they're like, well, I didn't tell them to do it. It's like, well, you gave them the nod though. That's all they needed.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of it's got to be egos too. Because once Doug's campaign started eclipsing Cyberfrog, Ethan's about him. He has a big ego.
Well, that was why I preface it by saying I wanted to not talk about motivations as much as possible and just talk about actions, because I consider that kind of a weak realm. But yes, I think Ethan is a very jealous person.
All right. Well, we're almost at an hour point. If you guys want to talk about what your plans are, yes, Doug, we want to have you on. I want Darth Lunga to be involved because he's more level-headed than I am. I'm his Padawan. He steers me in a direction.
Yeah, he's the crazy one. Hence Mad Max.
But I think I like what I see of Doug on his channel. I got to check out more of his videos. When I watched that First, I watched Kevin Street's unboxing of Earthworm Jim, and then I watched Doug TenNaples' video behind the scenes at the printer and where to contact this printer to get this quality. And that actually does something than just the propping up of people that maybe are not ready for their own Indiegogos, because it's I am giving my opinion on motivation. He's obligated to these supporters that do some crazy stuff and don't show respect to the other creators. If one meme came out of what they do to Doug and Edwin with Ethan in there, Ethan would be pissed as hell.
Oh yeah.
There's no respect for other people, and if it's that much, if it's maybe every once in a while is another story, but the majority, they get dogpiled with. They have meme templates. Mm-hmm. Do this.
All the time.
Now they think that's the right. Okay, it's your right to be an asshole. Right. You're just doing it constantly. That amount is harassment, in my opinion.
Right.
It's harassment.
Well, how could it not be, right? I mean, it is whatever the limits of the platform and the law are, they try to operate to that limit to harass and antagonize as much as possible. That's what they do.
Right. And let's be fair. Like, if it's like one or two people doing memes, okay, you laugh at it. Oh, haha. You know what I mean? Right. And you let it go. But no, but the thing is that it's mobilized. It's mobilized, and it's a machine now. Yes. It's not just a couple people saying, "Oh, this is funny. I'm going to make a joke out of this guy." It's a machine, and it's their military arm.
Yes.
Of Comicsgate,
and
that's an organized attack. So I mean, that's when it's different. That's where difference comes in.
Yeah, and that's where I just got to look at the whole thing and go, I'm going to do my best to burn this all to the ground because it doesn't deserve to live. Sorry. And
well, I don't want anyone to fail.
Right.
To me.
Well, think about it. Do you really want the dildo meme harassment, hate bucks based on propping up creators kind of at the tail end of their career thing to go on another 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I know I don't, but to me, it's like this. I don't know. It starts at the head. Okay, so it's just, to me, when I look at it, it's not that Comicsgate is the problem. It's the people who are the thought leaders, which there's pretty much only one, but let's say there's a handful.
Sure.
Are they're the ones that's twisting into something else. And again, to be fair, it's because when it started and he was the only established career professional,
right? And
no one else was. You know what I mean? So who else are they going to go to? You know what I mean? Right. So I kind of feel bad for them at the same time. Like saying, again, I'm not telling you do whatever you think you have to do. But to me, it's like burning it all down. It's like, I would hope or see if maybe people just inside the movement find if there's a better way to do this. I mean, that's what I would say to anyone in this Comicsgate. That it's like, no one wants to see you fail. We all want to see you succeed, especially if we're creators. I would say just see if there's a better way, a nicer way to do it. Because you think it's, this is funny, but I mean, how long is it funny? I mean, is that literally what your life is about, making memes every fucking day? How sad is your life if that's all you want to do?
That shows the mental state. If you're that obsessed with photoshopping dildos everywhere,
I mean,
that shows someone's mental state. I'm sorry.
The whole thing is just a drag. I'm sorry, it's a drag on society. It's marketing based on outrage. So you have these people who are just sitting here and who's the villain of the week that we have to be outraged about now? And they have to be in their little echo chambers. They really can't talk or defend their opinions independently. So they need to be in this little cult and go from, echo chamber YouTuber to echo chamber YouTuber, as long as, Ethan's kind of giving them the nod and, they're okay this week, in order to recycle these dollars and these backers so that we can make comics great again. The whole thing is a sham. It's destructive. It's destructive to the people in it. It's destructive to the people they target. And by the way, the comics are shit. So there's that.
And I do want to tell anyone out there that's a creator, even if you're a Comicsgate or whatever the case is. What I do with my novel, and just from what I know of other people and what other people have told me too, a novel is harder to sell on a campaign than a comic book.
Yeah.
Because comic books, you could show, there's pictures, you could show people more. You know what I mean? Where a novel, it's like I give them the first 3 chapters, and that's what they got to go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and who's going to sit down and read those?
Right.
Yeah.
And for my very first campaign ever on Kickstarter, I raised $4,000, and it was a successful Kickstarter. Now, of course, if people want to see those $50,000, sure, we do, all do, okay?
Yeah.
And is this a quick way? If you hook up with EVS and he does that for you, yeah, it's a quick way.
Right.
But if I can do a $4,000 campaign without knowing hardly anything, and there's just smart ways to do it. All you do is you create a Facebook ad and run a contest where you give away like $100 worth of something similar to what you have, and you build an email list. I built an email list of 7,000 people in 1 month. You know what I mean? And it cost me $200. You know what I mean? It's like, there's ways to do it, and you can do it on your own, or just even just a small group of you, if 5 of you get together. You know what I mean? There's ways to do it that you don't have to rely or deal with this kind of nonsense, because doesn't it get tiring to deal with this kind of nonsense to sell your product? You know what I mean? It's not necessary. He's not your only outlet. There's ways to do it.
I mean, I really tend to think of it and like, I really get reminded, going back to the Red Gaze question, well, what about the small creator? I'm like, well, it's just like in Star Wars. I'm sorry, but you got the light side of the Force, which is slower, but more sustainable. Or you got the dark side of the Force, which is anger and hatred based, and will get you much more power much faster.
Right.
But it burns out. It turns on itself. It's hard to keep any kind of loyalty or alliances going. And in the end,
it's an Ouroboros.
Yeah. So, sorry.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it. And the other thing too is, like I told what, at the end of the day, I mean, that little campaign only cost me $200, but I had everything done, okay, and I wasn't relying on the campaign to pay for everything up front, which is what a lot of these individuals do, and I think that's part of the issue too. That's my problems with them, is that you're not promised anything. It's all, I'm not doing anything until all this money comes in, basically. You know what I mean? And with mine, it was like I had most of it done, but I spent $2,500 of my own money, and I just barely got most of that back with the campaign. Sure. But that's the light side of Force you talk about. It's like, is there an investment on your end? Yes. Is it hard? Is there stuff you got? I mean, it's not just as easy of putting up a campaign. It's like everybody else paid for it. That doesn't happen with everybody. It's rare. And it's only happening here because it's a fanatical group of small people that are all buying into it.
Yeah. Yes. I guess we've reached our end point, because I think kind of
this was a great conversation. Me and Longa, I think, differ from you, but we value your opinion that we do want everyone to succeed. But as it is now, it's recycled. My opinion is recycled funds. It's only encouraging the followers to do some crazy stuff, not calling them out on it, because that's your bank. That is your bank, and the promise of ever being on a show and getting fulfillment. It's getting dangerous. I don't think it's good for comics the way it is now. No. And I think everyone at the beginning wanted something better for comics, especially when it started from critics.
Right.
And now it's become creators only. Well, creators that benefit from it, as it is now. Only the top of the top are actually benefiting it from it. Everyone else is being recycled and hoping for their shot in the limelight. And that's why they don't want to call out the bad behavior as well. So that's my final thoughts.
Awesome.
All right. If you want to promote your show, your channel, what you're planning this week, go ahead, Preston. You're the featured guest.
For anyone interested in following Comicsgate drama, I do have a YouTube channel, Pocket Jacks Comics, where I do Last Week in Comicsgate, which is always fun. I'm also trying to, branch into some other videos and provide pop culture references in terms of what I call alternative Sunday lectures, where like the last one was on the virtue of forgiveness as exemplified by the movie Wonder Woman and stuff like that. So I think of it like a sermon, because I grew up in the Baptist church, but with pop culture references in terms of Bible references.
That's an interesting series. I checked out some of them. Good job. Longa?
Everybody here should know me already.
We got some new eyes on it because Preston was on. We definitely did.
My channel's the Great Council. It's mostly started out as a Star Wars channel, but I talk about other things too. On Mondays I do Sci-Fi Monday. Monday evenings we talk about all sci-fi stuff, kind of like Dune and other things like that. I do a live stream every Sunday. So you can check out the channel if you like. Also, I do have, if you go on my channel, I have a link on there. My book, Souls of Magic Dawn, is also available on Amazon for pre-sale. So if you're so inclined and like fantasy, go ahead and click on it and take a look at it. And this Friday, Max, we're doing our stream with Fanime Friends on Friday. And Saturday is another Stream Junkies.
Okay, and Wander of the Moonlight wanted me to link the channel of Preston's, and I forgot to do that. So here is his channel. Go sub to him. Go check him out. He's an interesting dude. He's talented. And even though he's not, he has some people that aren't happy with him in the comics, independent comics. I think he's got important things to say. If you don't like some of the things, talk directly to him. I'm sure he'll talk to you.
Yeah.
If you say I disagree with it, I think he'll have a conversation with you as long as you're not attacking him.
I do my best. I even engage for the only time I really just turn somebody off is if they're really just there to parrot the cult of the frog, and if they won't answer your question, like if they're like, you're just out destroying comics because you're so jealous, like dude. Even
that's regurgitating.
Yeah, they're just regurgitating that, and I'm like, look, man, I'm out here. Do I not have a right to go and promote my own books, regardless of whatever you feel my motivation is? Then instead of answering my question, they just jump to another attack, and then another attack. I'm like, okay, this person's gone. So
yeah.
You have to work to get gone. But.
All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. This is an interesting conversation. That's what I like to have here. Preston is always welcome on my channel.
Thank you.
Well, I think always.
I do my best.
We'll have to see what happens in the future.
Yeah.
But I think so.
Awesome. All right,
All
thanks.
right. I'm going to end it now.
All right, cool.